And if you're invited there, you're among the people that rule the earth. Let's say it like that. And it is ruled by law. But so it's not something that is wrong. But there's so many thousands of hours that is needed to know the system to that extent. But you don't need to do that. Just think about it, that you are two parallel people. You are the legal person, me, and then you have seen my name, right? But that name is not me. Of course it's not me. Me, I'm here, I'm flesh and blood. Whatever my name is, I can decide what I want to do. But the second I sign something, I claim the legal identity. And then I have to live by those things I sign for, right? So when I get the contract from the school for my children, for instance, they say verge, parent, a parent that rents, and so on. They ask for who is that, and I strike all those things. I said mother, father. Do you know what that different means? If child services comes and picks up your kids, you have to prove that you're kind of innocent or that they don't have that right today, because you signed that you're only the parent or the guardian. The state is the owner. That's what you did, because you didn't know this. I don't do that. I sign, I'm the father. My wife is the mother, right? And then we have the rights. We haven't given those away. And when it says signature, I say autograph. They know this, I'm not kidding. They know this very well. The people that made these forms, they know. You can see it, how they've written it. Okay, so I'm sorry, but I'm so grateful, because this is what makes the world go round, that we can brush off and see what we mean and how we can get forward. So I'm very, very happy for it. And I'm not saying you're wrong in anything. You might be even more right than I am willing to accept. But the point is, there is a clear-cut world between the legal domain and not, right? There is. So if you watch Bill Gates' court case, where he's interviewed by the prosecutor, watch that where he invented a virus that could contaminate computers, so that it could even contaminate another one, so that it could get another virus, and so on. And we all know he just switched domains, right? We are the PC. You got that soon, right? We have the software. That's what they want. And if you take these vaccines, the percentage of foreign material in your body, it is a rule of law that if it gets above this threshold, you have not right to your own body, because there's technology and software inside you. I'm not kidding. Read it at Yale, at all these schools. They have it ready. They mapped it out. So, but of course, you're more than welcome to do it, but then it's not yours. So, yeah. But if we get to the final part, what is it that we need to do something with? How can we make a private business? And I met with a gentleman in Drammen. He had a private business for 35 years. He never reported any income to any government. He just got compensation from his clients, his customers, and he paid and he did everything. And then for 35 years, he was never written even a letter from government. And I asked him, so how was that possible? He said, yeah, because it's the first action. The second you register, you're gone. You spend the entire life trying to make ends meet, and I didn't need to do that, so I could service my customers instead. I'm not saying this is a recipe that is easy to do today, but 35 years ago, it's very easy. It was just that you should do your resident duty of registering. Fair enough, fine. But it's voluntary. No one forced you to it. That's why it's called selvangivelse. But it's not going to last long, right? It's going to be your digital legal ID is going to be connected to, and you're not going to even pay income tax. That's not how it's going to be done. You're going to get money. And then the price of what you need to pay out there is going to be taxed. Right? So what I want to invite you to is, so how can we then, we looked now into So what I want to do to mention is that not very far from now, let's call it in mid-December, we're going to allow other people that wonder, okay, so I know how to make business, but I have a hard time making ends meet, or I think it's not serving anyone, it's getting smaller and smaller, I have to lay people off and stuff like that. We're offering to teach you how to do it in the private, like the wealthy people do. Ask the people living in City of London or working in City of London, how much tax do they pay? Do you know? No. So, some of my friends that worked at Wall Street, they said, oh, we thought the financial center of the world universe was Wall Street, and then we moved to London. So it's just that they don't talk about it, of course. But they rule all the Commonwealth, they ruled all the world from a few buildings in London. And the gold price is set twice a day between 5 families. And it's not even a secret, look it up. They say to avoid fluctuations in the gold price, we need to make sure that, go to a website called Gold Switzerland. Search, look through those pages, you will see it mentions how those 5 families are setting the gold price. This is the explanation why the gold price hasn't gone like this when China, India, Russia and all of these have bought gold in hordes, right? They're buying so much gold they can just get their hands on now, right? So they want to back their own currencies by gold, of course. So we're starting an accelerator, and I think we know someone that is going to be part of it. So Lise Beate, she knows how to make business, but she also wants to find out how to do this in the private. And then of course, we have to be a little bit careful because we don't want to destroy for ourselves, and it's not about hiding, it's the opposite. It's offering the government, if it wants to be part of it, fair enough, here's an offer. But you don't need to sign it. You don't need to offer it up for free. You can decide what your conditions are. And a contract is always bilateral. It's never, or trilateral actually. If you get married, you have the third party as the church or the state. And then that third party decides who's going to get the children, who's going to get the what of value, and so on. You know that you don't decide if you get married, right? So what is then a private marriage contract? What do you think that is? That's when you don't have the government or the church as a third party. Have you heard about that before?
Yeah.
Most probably in California. All the people in Orange County, they do this. Those are the same people that show up with their lawyer if someone asks their children to be vaccinated. So they don't vaccinate at all, none of them. It's like it's 80% unvaccinated in Orange County. So what do they know that we don't know? So we're starting this very soon, and then, we're gonna wrap up. This was about, you can do whatever you want. And you can try to follow what you are offered. That's a perfectly good way if you think that's livable. Most people I know now, even people with a lot of money, they say, that's not a road to abundance. And do you now get why these 100 families have already moved to Switzerland? Do you get it? Do you know what it is? It's this plus one issue. The only country in the world that has stated that it will not use a legal, compliance system of what they call retail central bank digital currency is Switzerland. They're the only ones that has says we are not going to do that. And you know what the next sentence is? Because we want people to be able to spend their money on whatever they want. What does that tell you? It means the rest of the world are going to go for a central bank digital currency where you will have an account with the central bank. And where the central bank is going to decide with programmable money, if you spend the carbon credit, if you travel too much this month and you can't travel. Or if you protested against the LTGB something movement or whatever. Or if you didn't believe in the climate hysteria. Or you didn't carry out your garbage the way of it you were supposed to. So it's going to be programmable money. Don't trust me. Look up Rishi Sunak, what he said since before he became prime minister. He has the job to do this. That's his job. All right. So so that's why they moved to Switzerland, and even more are doing. And some that are not moving to Switzerland, they're trying to use the same model on how to protect their wealth. And we are 100 families that are doing that. So you do whatever you want, but at least we prepare. We don't offer up our money in the legal system. We say there are ways to deal with, to get it to be private, so that it becomes our own property to decide whatever we want to do with it. And we then create a private economy. Yes, it's not going to be the biggest economy of the world, but you know, quite a small economy becomes quite big when the only way to survive is actually buying and selling with thousands of people instead of millions. That's it. And then, of course, we're very concerned about how can we make sure that the law of the private, which still applies. You know that if your children has a home alone party and the police arrives, you know that they don't go in. You know that, right? Why don't the police go in? They ask, could we have a look, please? And if they say no, then they can't have a look. Then they have to have a report that someone is killing someone or something like that. Then they can move in. That's another. Then it's saving lives. But even your children has rights by the doorstep. I'm not kidding. And
the police still break the rules. They just go in without reports, and in some cases.
In some cases they may do, and especially if you're deemed an enemy of the state, yeah.
Yes.
And then they fabricate
Yeah.
something after the fact, yeah. So the rule is don't offer up any excuse for them to do that. That's number one. Be nice. That's number one. Even though you're right, you know, they will invent something.
And always.
Sorry.
And always keep the cameras on them. Because I was stopped by the cops and I had somebody recording every move that the police was doing.
Yeah.
So always, because today we have technology, so always watch everything that the government is doing, everything that the police is doing, always keep an eye on them. Let them know we're watching them.
Sure.
We're 5 million to 1. So they're nothing against us. So it's time for us to change the tables around. So everyone just always keep your eye on them. Anything happens, always just, you have a phone, it's got a camera, start recording.
And remember, don't offer up to be the enemy. It's like when you have this love-hate relationship with someone, right? And then you try to let it go, and then you constantly get these reminders that, oh, so I used to be with this person. Because they offer up hate and everything. And then if you offer hate back, then you know you're in the circle. So the only way to get away from that, what is that? To say, I hear what you say, I understand you perfectly, but quite frankly, it has nothing to do with me. So it's the Gone with the Wind thing. Rhett Butler, what did he say? Frankly, ma'am, I don't give a damn. So that's the way to treat it. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't relate to me. It's not part of my life. That's the way to not give it energy. But then stay wise. If they still come, then say nicely, okay, I listen to what you say, but I'm not so sure that has anything to do with me. So please come back when you believe you have. All right? So was this any good at all? Did it offer up? He promised that it would light up some of the fire. I'm not sure it did, but we got to have some good talks at least. Was it any good?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. If you want an invite to know what these 100 families are doing, this is it, and I'll leave it on for a couple of minutes, and then thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. That was